Bioworks just published a report for the second half of 2022, and standing beside me it's CEO Jonathan Royce. Good day.
Good day to you.
You just released your report. How does it feel?
It feels really good. 2022 was a fantastic year for Bioworks. Another record year. We had our 8th period in a row where we grew sales. I'm already really focused on 2023 and the opportunities that we have ahead of us this year.
But let's take a look at the report then. You reported sales for the second half year of 23.2 million Swedish crowns and order intake of 34.3 million, nearly double that of the previous year. Net profit landed at minus 22.3 million. However, what lies behind these numbers?
Yeah, the growth in sales has been really fantastic. We've continued to add new production customers to our portfolio of customers, and that has really driven the increased revenues both in the US, where we see the highest growth rates, but also in other markets where we've seen customers that we worked with over many years to evaluate and start to scale up our products, that they're now moving into more regular production. That feels really encouraging, and it really drives a lot of larger orders for us that help contribute to the revenue growth. Then we've had to make some investments in production and quality personnel to keep up with the demand, and that's created a little bit of headwind in the second half of the year, but we continue to work to try to improve the efficiency of our production by scaling up our manufacturing processes, and that's going to lead to better margins as we move forward.
Strong growth in American markets. You wrote that in your CEO letter, and to be specific, sales increased with 228%. But you saw a slight or a weaker development in European and Asian markets. Was this in line with expectations?
Yeah, it was in line with expectations. We had some really big orders, especially in Europe in 2021, that we knew were going to go into either startup of production, where there was also a safety stock being purchased in combination with the material that was going into production. So we knew that that order was particularly large. We had another customer that also went into a clinical manufacturing campaign, and we know that when there's a clinical manufacturing campaign, there's a clinical trial that's going to follow, and that usually creates a gap year in repeat orders. The US market has been growing even faster than I had expected, although I really did think that the US would be the place where we grew the most this year, and that's part of why we've now invested in a laboratory facility outside of Boston where we can bring customers and actually demonstrate our products for them on site, and we've now hired an application specialist in that market as well.
Have you hired any employees in Boston?
Yeah, we have 3 sales people in the US now. One is based in Boston, one is based in New Jersey, and the other is on the West Coast in San Diego. So we now have a team of 4. We've had our US subsidiary now since 2020, so that organization is up and running, and all of the sort of infrastructure around that organization is in place.
Great. GoBio, we have to talk about that as well, because it's a new product that you've launched during June, if I'm not mistaken. What's so special about it?
So GoBio is a solution where we take our bulk product, the product we manufacture in Uppsala, and we actually package it into a turnkey solution for customers. Normally, a customer who buys bulk resin, they have to actually perform an operation that's called column packing. They have to pack and test a piece of hardware with the resin, and that operation takes about a day in their production, and a day in GMP production is a large investment for a pharmaceutical company. GoBio is a solution where we pack the resin in a pre-packed device. We test the column, we provide a certificate of analysis to the customer, and then they can essentially connect that column directly to their pump system and start their purification operations. So it saves a lot of time for our customers in manufacturing. They are willing to pay for that time savings, and I typically give the example that a liter of our highest selling product, which we call an ion exchange resin, we sell for just under €2,000 per liter. If we can sell that product, that same volume of resin in a pre-packed format, we can sell that for over €10,000 per liter. So it really creates a large margin increase for Bioworks, but it also creates a big time savings for our customers. So it is truly a win-win situation. This pre-packed format is something that very few suppliers on the market have today. So we are one of essentially 3 companies now that can provide this solution. And there's been a big demand for more players and more designs on the market. So we feel very encouraged about this product launch.
What does GoBio, this product, mean for your employees?
So for our employees, it is actually very little change because we we have a sub-supplier that does the packing for us. So we ship the resin to the sub-supplier, they pack and test the columns, they ship them back to us. We do have to QA release the columns at our facility, and then we ship them out to our end user customers. So for our employees, it means that the work that we're doing in Uppsala is generating more value for the company, but it's not creating a higher workload for the employees in Uppsala.
Good to hear. But the first orders of GoBio came in during this half of the year, and revenue from GoBio landed at 3.1 million crowns and also led to 6 million in total in order intake. Who are the customers and what sort of feedback have they given you?
So I can't name the customers, unfortunately. I wish I could, but we have CDAs in place with them, and they've asked us not to name them. But I can say that the customers that have used GoBio in the largest volume so far are ones that are doing very regular contract manufacturing. So they have many projects that are moving through their facility, and this time savings of a day for every column pack is really important to them. It drastically improves the efficiency of their manufacturing facilities and allows them to really use their time in the facility to generate value and not do one of these non-value adding operations like packing columns. The biggest customer is actually a customer that's also buying a customized resin from us. So we developed this resin specifically for that customer. And there were really two key things to winning that business. One was our ability to customize resins, and two was our ability to deliver that resin in a pre-packed format. If we hadn't had both of those pieces in place, we wouldn't have had this business. And we think that that's going to be sort of a winning combination moving forward with a lot of customers. The underlying market for the molecular structures that are being used to make biological drugs is starting to diversify really rapidly. And in many cases, that means that production volumes are starting to come down. And that's going to mean that this pre-packed design is going to be more and more suitable for manufacturing facilities, because the scale up isn't going to go to volumes that are so large that a pre-packed design becomes impractical.
Will you push GoBio to existing customers or try to find new ones?
Yes, of course, we're going to try to find new ones, but absolutely we want to have the discussion. We are having the discussion with existing customers because we would love to see them convert to this format. And we do have several of our larger customers that are contract manufacturers, and we think that this solution should be interesting for them.
Another statement that I noted in the report that I wanted to bring up was also that you had a goal to increase sales faster than cost during 2022. And you did partially achieve this goal, you're right. One-time cost and unexpected product mix caused headwinds. Could you elaborate?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we had some headwinds last year. I mean, I think every company really probably faced inflationary pressure, so that was a factor for us. But really the biggest factor was this unforecasted product mix. We had a product that we launched in the last 2 years that we took some really big orders of. The manufacturing was at a relatively small scale when we received those orders, and in order to deliver on time, we ran many batches instead of scaling up the process. A scale up for us triggers a validation that takes time, and we wanted to make sure to get product into this customer's hands as fast as possible. So many batches to deliver a large order is not the most economical way to produce that material. We have scaled up that manufacturing operation several times in the last year, and we will likely scale it again this year. And that's going to lead, every time we make those scale-up operations, that leads to improved margins on the product. So I feel confident that we're going to not see that same sort of pressure this year. We have a new product that we're going to launch in the second quarter of this year. We're actually going to launch that product already at a larger scale so that we don't have the same sort of growth pains in the beginning of that product launch. We expect that there'll be large interest for that new solution as well. So I think we've learned our lesson there, and we're going to be a little more aggressive on the scale that we launch at to make sure that we have suitable margins that can lead to better reduction in our operating loss during this year.
But have you scaled up production for that product?
Yes, we've scaled up production for that product on a number of occasions. I think we've done it 2 or 3 times already during the last year, and we have a plan to do another scale up of that product this year as we've received some additional orders. And then you mentioned some one-time costs. We did have some organizational changes and some investments that we made specifically in our quality organization that were not part of our plan, and those have also created a little bit of headwind. But those are now within budget for this year, and I think that will again we should see a reduced operating loss this year as we move towards profitability in 2024.
Indeed, and that's how you close your CEO letter, by observing that you're well positioned to reach that break even in 2024. But you write that you feel confident that you can reach this goal without more financing. How fast do you need to improve your margins to achieve it?
On the products we produce at larger scale, we're really already there. So really it has to do a lot with scale up. It has to do with driving sales of some of our higher value products towards customers. We have almost an order of magnitude difference between our least expensive and most expensive products from a sale price point in the market. And we have a strong focus now on trying to drive sales of the higher value products so that we can drive up the average selling price of the material that we're producing in Uppsala. GoBio is going to help contribute to this as well. So I think that as long as we continue to grow sales at the pace we're doing, which I feel confident we're going to be able to do, and we have these strategic product launches and scale-ups that we're going to do within our organization, that we should be able to get to that profitability point next year.
And what can't go wrong?
We are in a relatively stable market. I've seen some other companies that have recently reported that they think customers are, for example, building inventory, and that's put pressure on their stock price and made people a little bit bearish on sales growth for this year. We're not really in that situation, partially because we're such a new player, so our customers really haven't had any time to build inventory, but also because building inventory for production is not that common. It's more these sort of research applications where often people are building inventory to make sure that they have products on the day they need them. We don't have a large portion of our business going to research. Most of it's going into bioproduction, so I'm not particularly worried about that. I mean, you know, what could go wrong? If I think back about my career, the thing that's been probably the most sort of had the biggest negative impact on this market has been actually really unforeseen natural disasters. So when the volcano erupted in Iceland 10 years ago and product couldn't be shipped from Europe to the US, that obviously was a very dramatic event. Everything had to go by boat instead of plane. Normally everything we ship goes by air freight. The reactor meltdown in Japan around the same time in Fukushima also created a raw material shortage that affected a lot of suppliers. So there's not too many things out there that I can see on the future. There are sort of these unknown unknowns out there that you can worry yourself to death about, but I think you know what we can control, we have under control, and the other things we'll use our strong team to react to if they happen.
Jonathan, I will wish you good luck.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.